Okay, we're alone now. So why don't you cut the crap and tell me exactly what you think you can get out of me? And what you want from my daughter.
Even in the slums of Bogota, a hostess knows how to treat a guest.
Okay. Cut the crap, please. What are you after?
Nothing more than getting to know my niece. Is that too much to ask?
I'm afraid I don't find your interest in my daughter as innocent as you seem to say it is.
I don't see why. She's my niece. My only living blood relation. Surely someone like you, who is so close to her, Mujeres Kramer, should understand that.
Yes, yes. A relationship that has persevered over decades. Can you say the same?
No, I failed. I failed as a brother. I failed as an uncle. I failed. But people change. Have you never had the occasion to beg forgiveness from a loved one?
How can Langston be a loved one? You only met the girl last night.
There's plenty of time to change that.
Well, I'm sorry. But I cannot grant you the absolution that you seek.
I'm not asking anything of you. What I want, I'll get from Langston.
The only thing you'll get from Langston is a wave goodbye.
You really love my niece, yes?
Yes.
My sister Linda must have had a great deal of respect for you, to trust you with the care of her daughter.
I never knew your sister, Linda.
Then you will forgive me for asking you, how did Langston come to be with you?
Langston is the best friend of my grandniece, Star. And I discovered that Langston had been living alone in her house, covering up the fact that her parents had been killed. She would have been shuttled off to foster homes if I had not stepped in.
Incredible. How generous of you. To give of yourself to a young girl you didn't really know, not of your blood. And this with your own family to take care of.
Let's get something straight. Langston is family.
Not in any way that counts.
What counts, Senor Montez, is that I pledged my life to being Langston's mother. She's as much a Kramer as any of my girls.
Perhaps. But she is also Montez, and by blood. I will always be most grateful that you took her in, you gave her shelter. But I am her only blood relation, and she is, after all, a minor.
Just say it. What do you want?
It is time for me to take over the raising of my niece.
Get out of my house.
We don't have to make this difficult.
You ain't seen difficult yet.
I don't want to fight with you, Dr. Laura.
No, you want to extort money from me, and I'm not going to waste another second waiting for you to name your figure. You're not getting a dime
All
from me.
I want is my niece.
You're not getting her either.
We'll see what the man in the robe has to say about that. I am familiar with the laws of this country. There is no judge in America who will deny me my day in court. Not when I am Langston's only living blood relation.
You may know the law, but you don't know me. And trust me on this, you don't want to.
Under any other circumstance, I would enjoy this pushing and shoving with you. Maybe even a drink together after. But not today. Not when the well-being of my niece is hanging in the balance.
Langston's going to be fine. Because she has me. Where were you when she was a frightened, lonely child on her own? Where were you? No, you wait until she is here in this house with me, because that works much better for you. Last night, you saw the beautiful, strong, lovely young woman that Langston has become. And I'm telling you, nobody is going to ever take that away from her.
You'll be hearing from me.
Hello. Get me Jerry. Fine, get me Randy. Whoever, get me someone. Hello, this is Dorian, Lord. I'm gonna want you to expedite, step up the adoption procedure for me. Yeah, right away. I want it right away. Do whatever you have to do. And wait. Importantly, get that dirt for me on Ray Montez. Is that a joke, Your Honor?
I don't joke, Dr. Lord. You cannot proceed with the adoption of Langston Wilde. An injunction has been filed to stop it.
Who filed this injunction?
I did. I want custody of my niece.
You are Ray Montez.
I am, Your Honor. Miss Wilde is my late sister's daughter, and I am seeking the privilege of raising her.
Can he do this?
Your Honor, this man hardly knows my daughter. In fact, we have no proof that he is who he says he is.
Dr. Lord?
Your Honor, I have the information Dr. Lord is requesting right here. My client's passport, several family documents, birth certificate, and a picture of my client with his sister, Linda Montez Wilde, the mother of the child in question.
This is what her mother would have wanted.
Your Honor, I doubt very much that Langston's mother would have wanted her to be raised by a murderer.
Dorian!
Please. Okay, go quick. You see, Your Honor, I had investigators look into this gentleman's background, and until recently, he was at Plato Prison in Colombia for murder.
Your Honor, included in the information I presented is Mr. Montez's release from prison and documentation proving that he was proven to be innocent. All charges have been dropped against him.
Whoa.
Your Honor, because of my wrongful imprisonment, I was unaware of my sister's death. I came to Landview the moment I found out, the moment I knew my niece needed me.
She does not need you.
Dr. Lord, may I remind you that this is my courtroom.
Your Honor, I'm sure that you'll find all of Mr. Montez's papers are in order and agree that there are no legal grounds for denying him custody of his niece.
Do I have to go with my uncle? Even if I don't want to?
Absolutely not. Your Honor, I am Langston Wilde's legal guardian, and only a hearing can change that.
Dr. Lord, that is the express purpose of this meeting with Mr. Montez and his attorney, to consider his request to have his niece's guardianship changed. Now, please sit down.
But Your Honor...
Sit down. Mr. Montez, are you prepared to demonstrate viability of guardianship?
I am, Your Honor.
Then please step forward.
Will you do something?
Dr. Lord, you'll have an opportunity to speak later.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Nobody is going to take you away from me.
Your Honor, my sister Linda and I did not speak for several years. I regret that more than you can imagine, now that I lost her. I see so much of Linda in my niece, Langston. And I see a way to help repair the damage of the past. Your Honor, if there's one thing I learned in the years I spent away from my family, it is that it is not just a duty, but a privilege. It is a privilege to preserve the family connections. I greatly appreciate Dr. Lord for giving my niece a good home since she lost her mother and father. But I can also give Langston a good home. She will be well educated. And I can offer to her something no one else on this earth can offer. The stories, the memories, to keep her mother, to keep her grandparents close to her. I can provide Langston with a family in the most true sense of the word.
Thank you, Mr. Montez. Now I'd like to hear from Miss Wilde's foster mother, Dr. Lord.
In this very courtroom, I was awarded legal guardianship of Langston Wilde. And while I have never tried to replace her biological mother, it was my honor to become a second mother to her. And she became like one of my daughters. So much so that I decided I wanted to adopt her, to make it legal, permanent. I discussed it with Langston, and she said that she felt the same way. And while I cannot provide memories of the past, as can Mr. Montez, I have brought her into a very happy and loving household with cousins and aunts, and we have created a lot of wonderful memories and will continue to do so in the future. So I'm sorry, I just don't get it. Mr. Montez is offering memories of Langston's mother, his sister, a woman from whom he was estranged for 20 years. So Langston may not have my blood, but she has my heart. And that is a bond that nobody has the right to break.
Dr. Lord, Mr. Montez, thank you both for your statements and the information you provided. If there's nothing else,
Your Honor, may I say something since everyone's talking about my life and my future?
Of course, Miss Wilde. Please, be seated.
Two years ago, I thought I lost any kind of family that I had forever. And then my uncle walked into my life. And in a way, he brought my mother back to me. Because now I have someone to ask all the questions that I'll never get to ask her. I want to hear more about the stories of my mother and of our family. And I want to see the pictures. I want to get to know my uncle better. But the person who has become a huge part of my life and who saved me from terrible loneliness is Dorian. And I want to live with her. I want her to be my mother.
Thank you for your statement, Miss Wilde. I'll take it into consideration. And now I'm going to my chambers to review all of this material and your statements, and then I'll deliver my decision.
All rise.
Yeah,
Is it done?
we're waiting for the judge to rule.
This better go our way, or you'll be getting ready to go back to prison.
Is it going to go our way?
I've never dealt with Judge Jenkins before, but Dr. Lord is a powerful person in town, and she made a good case.
Tell me we're going to win this.
I would, if it were any other judge. You can never predict what Jenkins will do. But we have a very strong case, and Jenkins should take Langston's wishes into consideration.
All rise.
Please be seated. I've gone over the cases presented by both petitioners, and I've reached a decision. Miss Wilde's statement makes it clear that Dr. Lord has done a fine job of caring for her foster child. That said,
Our apologies, Your Honor.
What are you doing? I was trying to take away gasoline from you.
may I continue?
Yes, indeed. We're so sorry, Your Honor. It's just that Langston's family wanted to be here for her.
As I was saying, Dr. Lord very ably cared for the minor in question. But placement with a fit and responsible relative is always desirable. There is no substitute for an ongoing relationship with a close family member. The goal of this court is to preserve families whenever possible. Therefore, my ruling is that Langston Wilde will hereby be placed in the custody of her uncle Ray Montez. It is the goal of this court to preserve families whenever possible. Therefore, my ruling is that Langston Wilde will hereby be placed in the custody of her uncle Ray Montez.
You can't do that.
You can't. I mean, up until just recently, he didn't even know she existed.
Yeah, and Langston doesn't want to live with him. Didn't you hear her? You brought on this suit without any notice here.
You don't even know what this man's real motives are.
Right, and to make her live with a man that she doesn't even know? A teenage girl without any recourse?
A teenage girl. It's criminal, and I won't allow it.
I'll remind you all that this is my courtroom. Everyone, sit down. Dr. Lord, sit down. I'm not insensitive to the feelings aroused by this case. In fact, I'm heartened that this foster placement was so successful.
It was not a placement. She has a family.
I'm sure Miss Wilde will always value your relationship, Dr. Lord, but the law is clear. I have no choice but to award guardianship of Miss Wilde
She's a Kramer.
to her uncle, Ray Montez.
Dr. Lord wishes to appeal your decision, and pending the appeal, we respectfully request you allow Langston to remain with her family.
Counselor, I'm sure you are aware that as a foster parent, Dr. Lord lacks standing in this case.
What? I have no rights? And this murderer can waltz in here and abduct my child?
Your Honor, we produced proof that Mr. Montez's conviction was overturned.
Oh, and who did he buy off?
Dr. Lord, given your record and your actions in this court, I suggest you refrain from casting stones.
Excuse me, Judge, may I say something here? I mean, you're willing to take this child out of a loving environment, an environment that Langston considers her home now, and toss her over to a man that she just met last week?
Case law supports returning the child to a blood relative.
Oh, come on!
How do you know this guy's who he says he is?
I'm afraid my hands are tied. Ray Montez is awarded custody.
Wait,
Yes, Miss Wilde?
what does all this mean for me? I mean, do I have to live with my uncle now?
Until you reach 18, yes.
Langston, please. I promise you. It's hard to imagine right now, but you will come to love living in Colombia.
You can't make her leave the country. She's a citizen of the United States.
Langston's home is here.
Sit down, all of you. Actually, Miss Wilde has dual citizenship.
Seriously, you can't do that. Come on.
Your Honor, may I speak? Up until 2 years ago, this young girl's home was with her parents. She was fortunate to be taken in by Dr. Lord. I will always be most grateful for that generosity. But just as Langston has adapted to the loss of her mother and father and to being thrown into the world of these people, surely she will adapt to a new home with me in the country of her mother.
Okay, I would really appreciate if everyone would stop talking about me like I'm not even here. This is my life.
Yes, it is, and you should have a say in it, sweetheart.
And with all due respect, Your Honor, you'd be forcing her to move away from her community, her school, her friends.
There will be benefits to this change, an adventure, much like the one her mother went on when she came to
You are
America.
making her move to another country? That's child trafficking!
Your Honor, I object to Dr. Lord's characterization.
As do I.
She's a citizen of the United States, and she should not be forced, even by a blood relative, to move away from the country she loves against her will.
I did not come here to make a fire, nor did I come here to settle down. I only came because of my niece. It has always been my intention, it remains my intention to return with her to Colombia.
Excuse me, Your Honor. May I speak?
Dr. Lord.
Your Honor, as reprehensible as it is to give custody of my daughter to a man she only met a few days ago, to allow him to take her out of the country is unconscionable.
You are trying my patience, Dr. Lord.
Do you want this on your conscience? To turn an innocent young woman over to a man who has spent the last 2 years in prison? And I don't care how he got his release, because the Colombian prison system is notorious for its corruption. All I care about is what will happen to this innocent young woman once she is left alone with that man. I'm not a perfect parent, but I am, unlike Mr. Montez, a known commodity. I'm controlling, I'm overprotective, I am intrusive. My girls can enumerate for you my many faults, and they often do, but they always know that I love them with all of my heart and soul. Langston used to have purple hair. Did you know that? And she's a very, very talented writer. Did you know that? I know that he did not know that. And she's loyal. Oh my goodness, my great niece, Star, she went through a big crisis this year. And I don't think she could have gotten through it without Langston. And the young man seated over there is Langston's boyfriend, a young man who's more of a man at 17 than many men 3 times his age. And Langston is a survivor. She has triumphed over the loss of her parents and the loss of her home. And is this how you are going to reward her? By not listening to her when she tells you what she wants? By taking her away from everything and everybody that she loves? What kind of a lesson are you teaching if you ignore her wishes?
That sometimes life is unfair, Dr. Lord. And despite our best intentions, we don't always know the right answer. I'm very sorry.
No, you are not sorry. You power-tripping son of a bitch!
Dorian, come
Yes!
on. No, stop. No,
Yes!
Dorian, come on.
You,
Just
sir,
do this.
are a soulless
Dorian,
tyrant!
stop. Okay, stop. Okay, come on. Just calm down. Marcus, I'm gonna be right here. She's making this worse, isn't she?
Hey, if you really cared about Langston, you wouldn't do this.
Dorian, it's okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not
Dr.
okay
Lord,
at all.
Dr. Lord, I would advise you to proceed with restraint and respect.
Unfortunately, Your Honor, I have lost all respect for you. However, in the interests of justice, why don't we all just give you a few minutes to reconsider your decision and do the right thing?
Or what, Dr. Lord?
Or I will ruin your life and decimate
Dorian.
your career, the same way I did with the Buchanans.
What did you just say?
Dr. Lord is trying to convey just how hard it is for her to let go
I
of
will
her
not
daughter.
allow anyone to violate a child. Do you understand me? I said I would ruin you, and I will. I will use every resource at my command. My roots in this community, my connections politically, and in the media. I will bring you down. And when I'm through with you, so...
Okay, that's it. I'm citing you for contempt.
No, come on.
Bailiff, take Dr. Lord into
No,
custody.
just, Your Honor, please.
Because we all think you suck.
There is room down in juvenile court for 4 more.
Sit down.
The charge stands. Dr. Lord, I've given you a lot of rope, and you've hung yourself. Now you can conduct my downfall behind bars. Court adjourned. Now you may all rise.
Dr. Lord. Hey!
Yeah.
And you can make this easy, or you can make it hard.